Hi guys, I've got a clip here from Dry Creek Wrangler. He was on the Chris Williamson podcast. Dwayne Noel, I believe his name is. I've been watching some of his stuff over the last few months. Really good stuff, and this was a good podcast. One of my favorite podcasts I've watched recently, actually. And he's got a clip here for you talking about fathers, the role of fathers, and the ripple effect it has on society. It's very good stuff. I don't agree with everything he says, but watch this clip and then we'll get into it.
What have you learned about the importance of fatherhood? You got
seven children.
7 children.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the importance of fatherhood?
All right. I believe God made man. Okay. And God created man and God gave man the word. And the word at that time was, don't eat of the fruit of those 2 trees. Okay. That was a symbol. That's all the word God gave man at that time. Then God gave man work. And the work was, he said, take care of this garden. And then God gave man a woman to help the man. Okay. That man and then the woman God gave him, that became a marriage. And then that man and wife had children. And those children had children, and then there became governments. Okay? You see where I'm going? In this country was founded as a Christian country. This is what I believe. People can do whatever. I believe that this country is only as strong as the churches. Even our founding father says America will remain great as long as America is good. When America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. This country is only as strong as the churches in this country. The churches are only as strong as the families that make up those churches. Those families are only as strong as the marriages that those families are built on. And those marriages are only as strong and good as the man that God built the marriages on. As goes the man, so goes the marriage. As goes the marriage, so goes the family. As goes the family, so goes the churches. As goes the churches, so goes the country. Everything is built on the husband and the father. And this country is a failure today because the fathers and the husbands have failed.
How?
Failing to be the example they need to be, failing to be the leaders they need to be, failing to be the disciplinarians that they need to be, failing to be the providers that they need to be. If you don't have the backbone as a husband and as a father to be the bad guy, you've got no business being a father or a husband. There's times when you have to know this is not a good direction for my marriage, for my family, and everybody's going to be mad at me. My wife is going to be mad at me. My kids are going to hate me. But in the long run, this is a very bad direction, and I'm putting my foot down, and we're not doing that. And you become the bad guy, but you do it for the long-term strength and safety of the family. And we've lost that. We've lost that in this country to a very large degree. And so I think, our next generation is going to run the politics. They're going to run the finances. They're going to run the judicial system, everything in this country. And they're going to be the result in a very large degree. And there's going to be those who don't agree with this, but they're going to be the result of whatever their fathers made them. Or whatever they become because they didn't have a father. And so I think fatherhood is paramount. I think it's paramount for the future of a society.
Speaking of doing things that make your family mad at you, I heard that you didn't let your daughters date until they were in their late teens. Is this right?
Right.
And that you grilled the potential suitors when they started dating them?
Every boy had to come to me.
Tell me the process. Tell me the story there.
Well, they would come, the boys would come, hey, you want to, and she was taught, you got to go talk to daddy. We don't even talk about this. You go talk to daddy. 2 of my son-in-laws today, for years, they would come and say, I'd like to, and they'd come to me and they're like, I'd like to, write your daughter. I'd like to. I'm like, no, nope. Well, what about this? No, why not? It's like, look, you're a good kid, but my problem with you is you're a kid. All right, grow up. And 2 of my son-in-laws, there were literally years. They kept coming back and I'm like, no, let me see what kind of man you're going to become. Okay. My daughter's not marrying a boy. And a lot of boys, they grow up to not be good men. So why let her get into an emotional attachment with a boy who will never grow up? And why am I not protecting her from that heartache in the future? And both of them now are married to my daughters. But there came a point years later, I'm like, okay, I've watched you. All right, you grew up. You can contact my daughter now.
How did that go down with the daughters?
I don't know. They wouldn't come fuss to me. But I think my daughters appreciated knowing they had a father who was not just looking out for them today, their feelings today, their whatever, but looking out for their entire future and putting them on the right road. I brought a man in my office one time and I had a desk along the wall. We sat down in front of the desk. He was sitting in front of me. I pulled out the middle drawer of my desk, pulled out a Bowie knife about that long, slammed it on the desk between us. I said, do you have any questions? He said, no, sir. No, sir, I don't have any questions. I said, all right, then. Put it back in the door, closed it, and we got up and left. They never had any questions. My daughters are married. All my daughters that are married to good men. Good men. And I've told every one of them at the wedding. I pulled every one of them at the wedding aside. I said, if you ever hurt her, they will never find your body. I said, there will be no court. There will be no what they call it, you go down and you swear out you can't come in with so many, a protective order. I said, won't be any of that. If you ever hurt her, they won't find your body. She'll be my daughter to the day she dies. And they all know, everybody knows, it's just like, and I think they appreciate it. And I think,
I'm sure they appreciated that on the wedding day. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, I didn't tell them. He may have later, but that's okay. But I think there's a lot of women out there will just say, man, I wish I'd had somebody in my life that had that kind of commitment to my safety and to my future.
Why do people think that you were saying that? Is it because you're a tyrant? Is it because you wanted to domineer over your daughter's lives? Or is it because you love them and you want the best for them and you want them to be safe and protected and happy?
Just that, because I'm not. Every one of my children, when they got married, you're adults. And I never interfere in their decisions. Never. I never say, you can't go here, you should do that. I never tell their husband, you should get this job, you should do that. We don't interfere in how they raise their children. My children are not raising their children the way I raised them. I never say anything about it. You're an adult. I raised you to be an adult. You're a parent. Those children are your children. I'm not a tyrant at all. But they know from a distance, Zeus is looking from Olympia and he will throw that thunderbolt down if somebody tries. They know that it's like Dad's always there. He's never meddling. He's never in the way. He's never in our affairs. But if he's always there, if we ever need him.
What do you think were the most important lessons that you taught your kids? Or what do you hope that your kids learned?
Your word. Your word is your bond. Don't lie. Now, I would go to jail for this today, but my kids are grown and gone. We had a deal in the house, and it's like, and I spanked my children. Okay, there it is. There's a set penalty for breaking this rule. If you break the rule, you're going to get that penalty. If you lie about it, the penalty is doubled. So it's like my boys, it's like, you don't hit girls. You don't hit girls. All right. And so, if they haul off and smack their sister comes in, he hit me. She's crying, there's a red mark on the side of her face. Call him in. It's like, did you hit her? Now, if it's proven that he did hit her, there's going to be like 15 licks. I mean, the penalty was severe. You don't hit women. All right. If he said, no, I didn't hit her. Oh, son, don't do that. No, I didn't hit her. And then two of the other siblings come in and say, he did. We saw it. Well, he got the 15 licks for hitting his sister, but he got 30 licks for lying about it. So he got 45 licks total. It's like lying is the worst thing. Do not lie. Go through life. You be honest. You speak the truth, even to your harm, even to your detriment. You do not lie, and you don't hit women.
So don't lie.
Don't lie. Your word is a man's most valuable, most important resource is his good name. If a man ain't got a good name, he ain't got nothing. So don't lie. Be respectful. Be respectful to others. Be respectful to your elders. Even if they're not respectable, they still been through life enough. Their position earns them what their behavior won't.
Over the span of about a year, I tried pretty much every green strength that I could to work out which one was best, and I came across AG1, and I've stuck with it for 3 years because it is the best. It's the most comprehensive, highly tested, and rigorously formulated. One scoop of AG1 contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, pre- and probiotic, green superfood blend, and more that all work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet. It increases energy and focus and helps with your digestion. Best of all, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you might not be sure. You might think that this is a big commitment, but no, it isn't, because you can buy it and try it every single day for 3 months, and if you don't like it, let's give you your money back. Right now, AG1 is running a special Black Friday offer for all of November. You get a year's free supply, vitamin D3, K2, 5 free AG1 travel packs, plus a free bonus gift. Just go to the link in the description below, or head to drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. That's drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, you will love the full-length 2-hour-long conversation with Dwayne right here.
All right, so very interesting clip there. And he makes a great point, man. I completely agree that the weakening of the fathers and the weakening of the importance of fathers in the home has had a negative ripple effect across society. In order to have a strong, functioning, prosperous culture, you got to have good fathers in the home. Completely agree. And I completely agree that one of the biggest reasons, maybe the biggest reason as to why the West, and of course he's talking about America, but the West in general, is on a downward spiral, is because the fathers have failed. And there aren't enough good, strong fathers in homes anymore. But here's the thing now. So it seems like his prescription for it is to be strong. It's to be a masculine, strong man, have a strong frame, be assertive, be in control of the family. But here's the thing with modern day. We live in a world, in a culture now where if a man is that way, the woman is incentivized to destroy that guy. The women are programmed, they're brainwashed into thinking that a man is strong in his beliefs. He's a tyrant. He's an abuser, psychological abuser at least, and that she could just divorce him and get half his stuff and take the kids, and he'll only get rights to see them like once every couple of weeks with supervised visits and so on. And we do live in that world, unfortunately. So his prescription could end up causing a lot more harm to a lot more families than it will good at the moment. And that's incredibly sad, because he's not advocating for anything bad. Okay, apart from hitting your children. I don't agree you should ever spank your children, but his prescription isn't going to quite work in this world. And it's programmed, man. It's programmed, you know. And here's the thing: it's been done on purpose. It has been done on purpose. Now, you might say that sounds a bit like a conspiracy or whatnot. You're talking nonsense. Look, I think there's multiple layers to it, multiple reasons, but I'll give you the most surface level one, which is obvious. If you're just someone who pays attention, this is obvious. This isn't a conspiracy. The reason why it's been done on purpose, pushed for men in the homes to be weak, for women to wear the trousers, to be the boss, is so women get in the workplace. Women are easier to control. We know this through studies. They're easier to manipulate. And they buy more things. So they get into the system, they buy more things into the system, and consumerist lifestyle, raise GDP, blah, 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 pay more taxes, etc. That's the surface level of it. And the programming is real, man. How many TV shows, movies is the father some useless buffoon, right? Who just can't do anything, and the wife has to come in and she's all condescending towards him, and she has to, you know, get things done and sort stuff out and save the family. I've seen this in so many sitcoms. Like, one of my favorites growing up was Everybody Loves Raymond. Love that show. Thought it was hilarious. And then when I took you know, the red pill lenses and saw things for the way they were, realized, oh my god, this is just propaganda. All right, change the scenery because it's too bloody noisy around. Back in the car. Now, yeah, like I said, Everybody Loves Raymond, programming. The Simpsons, useless Homer Simpson, right? Programming it. Paul Joseph Watson did a video on this, and he did a compilation of all like adverts, of shows, of movies, of the husband, the father being useless, and the mum coming in to save the day and do all the jobs. So men have been programmed to believe that they are weak and useless, and women have been programmed to believe that men are weak and useless, and they're the ones who can get everything done and the only competent sex on the planet. So the programming is real, man. The brainwashing is real, and it's to orientate itself around and pander to the needs of women. And that's where the red pill definitely gets it right, that we live in a femme-centric society, so that society is easier to control and it spends more money. That's the base level of it all. There's multiple layers, like I said, but I'm not going to do that for this video. So what can men do? What can fathers do? Ideally, it starts, if you're in a really difficult predicament as a dad right now, and you feel like you're one of those guys that you don't have a strong frame within the family unit, it's going to be very difficult. I'm not going to lie. Ideally, this starts from way before you're even a father. This is why I'm so passionate about reaching young men, right? Early 20s and so on, and trying to help them and see the bigger picture and move them away from some of the really degenerate, hedonistic, nihilistic messaging that they're being taught today, because that's just buying into what the system really wants. So ultimately, it doesn't want families, doesn't want strong fathers and so forth. So I'm very passionate about reaching out for those guys. And ideally, it starts then, and you look at the bigger picture, you understand where the programming is and the brainwashing, you get a good understanding of relationships and so forth. But most importantly, you work on yourself before you're even in a relationship. You work on yourself to the point that you don't actually need a relationship. You just want one. You're so secure in yourself. You become a securely attached person, a secure individual who doesn't need someone. And in that case, you can go into a relationship never feeling like you have to pander, never feeling like desperate, never making bad choices out of desperation and neediness and so forth, and that you can stick to a strong frame and a strong mindset, and you can have that. And if you reach a point where you're in a relationship and you set these rules, you set these boundaries. Now, like I said, not being a tyrant, right? Actually being fair, actually looking at things as a team with your partner. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, right? And the woman doesn't agree with that. Maybe she's bought into the programming. Then you walk away. Then it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. And you try and move on and try and find somebody else. And maybe you do find somebody else or whatnot. But you don't pander to these programmed, brainwashed women just for the sake of, well, at least I'm with someone. Because that ain't going to help the situation. More importantly, it's not going to help you as the individual, as the man, as the husband, as the father, and as the kids. And also, these women, the women need the fucking the red pill on this stuff more than the men. Seriously, I think there's enough men who have woken up to the crap now, woken up to the bullshit, woken up to the women's bullshit. More than enough. I think so. Not the majority, but we don't need the majority. Turn it around. But I think women need this more. And as men, I think if we're awake to this stuff, it's our responsibility to try our best to reach these women and to change their minds. As impossible as that sounds to a lot of guys, I know, but you know, what other choice do we have? It's the women that we need to wake up and realize that they're being used and manipulated in order to create this vicious cycle and this downward spiral of the West and of families and everything else. And it's not in their best interest, because it definitely isn't. It's not in women's best interest to believe that they are the rulers of the home and everything else. But in order to do that, you've got to approach it, and also with some forgiveness. Try and cut them a little bit of slack. I know a lot of guys are not going to like hearing that, but bro, they don't stand a chance. On general terms, women in general terms in the West, what chance do they stand? They're being, like I said, they're being progressed and brainwashed on every corner. You know, they're being told that you can be a boss bitch, you can have it all. You know, you can sleep with Chad Thundercock all the way through your young 20s and yada yada. They're being told all of this stuff from every corner, in every magazine, on every social media post, and every TV show and every movie. They don't stand a chance. So we should cut them a little bit of slack. Now, here's another point as well. This is why it's so great if you get in early with these guys. If you are a man who has got his stuff together, and you are, you know, high value man, you're a very rare breed, and a really good catch. A lot of women, especially good women, and tilt towards being a good woman, they'll change all their beliefs to suit that man. They'll fall in line with that man's beliefs. Again, that is something the red pill gets right as well. So that's another approach, you know. Get your shit together. Be a man worthy of respect. Super important. Can't just put your foot down. This is the way it goes. If you're not a man of respect, who isn't competent, who hasn't got his shit together. What do you think, guys? Love to hear your opinions on this one. This is a very, very important topic.